This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Many people do not understand the meaning of self-knowledge. Perhaps this is the reason why some people term it a misleading idea full of danger and difficulty. Other people go as far as suggesting that self-knowledge is a mere social convention whose real legitimacy does not. Nevertheless, before discussing the two statements, explaining the real meaning of self-knowledge is imperative. Many literature materials define self-knowledge as the ability to know the person and you confidentially. Self-knowledge, therefore, involves recognition of personal thoughts and feelings, especially on how they develop and how they influence individual behavior. In most cases, self-knowledge is all about understanding your beliefs, inspirations, desires, principles, and wants. It is a philosophy of self. However, due to different perceptions of self-knowledge, most philosophical definitions of self-knowledge appear in the first person, for example, Descartes, Hume, and Locke. For instance, definitions of self-knowledge from the third person's point of view only give the notion of objectivity and operationalism, hence, misleading. This is where many people find self-knowledge a misleading idea. To another person, self-knowledge occurs when an individual demonstrates personal discourse and conduct. Thus, according to those who believe that self-knowledge is a misleading idea, it is hard to determine the person's intentions unless inferring the person indirectly. Up to this point, they think that self-knowledge is dangerous and difficult as it is not good to infer other people's affairs or intentions. Another group of people believes that self-knowledge is a mere social convention with no legitimacy. By this, they imply that self-knowledge does not exist at all. During the heyday of behaviorism, many philosophers differed on whether self-knowledge is a philosophical concept or just a mere social convention. Some philosophers, such as Aquinas, suggested that self-knowledge is the ability to observe self-behavior, hence, a social convention. He also criticized the idea that self-knowledge involves a distinctively unswerving epistemic process. Aquinas also retorted that if at all self-knowledge is undeviating, no one would be in a position to seize the higher-order mental condition and, hence, regress. Diverse criticisms of self-knowledge started during the philosophical days of Descartes, Locke, William, and others. Nevertheless, these criticisms depend on one's view of self-knowledge. It is imperative to note that the difference of views on self-knowledge emanates from psychological and philosophical viewpoints. According to this, the idea that self-knowledge is misleading and exhibits difficulty or danger is an ill motive. To me, self-knowledge emanates from creating relationships with people around you so that you learn their intentions and characters. For instance, you can learn people's gestures, dress codes, the way they talk, their obsequiousness or condescension. To me, this is how self-knowledge is exhibited in a person. In addition, self-knowledge comes when a person can understand self and recognize his or her deeds. Perhaps the major reason why many people think that self-knowledge is a mere social convention is that they know little about their minds. They do not understand that their minds differ from ordinary minds and each person is unique. Consequently, these persons lack self-knowledge, sometimes characterized by cripplingly low self-esteem. Without understanding your personal mind, it is impossible to identify yourself as gifted, and once this occurs, it becomes difficult to incorporate your identification into your personal senses. Eventually, people end up with assertions that self-knowledge is a misleading idea full of difficulties and dangers. Self-knowledge is not a disingenuous idea since it helps an individual to understand the person in him or her. Whenever people understand themselves, they are in a position to manage and take care of their personal lives. In so doing, it is easier to make life turn out for you instead of having life ensue for you. Self-knowledge is not a mere social convention because it makes us comprehend our external physical universe over and above the inner metaphysical world surrounding us. Moreover, through self-knowledge, our mind turns out to be the interface for both experiences. The idea of self-knowledge starts from the mind. In most cases, the manners in which we think dictate our lives and influence our human experience. Thus, by changing our perceptions about our surroundings, we can change our worldview on certain issues, such as self-knowledge. Paradoxically, the moment we change our perceptions and think the right way, the surrounding world also adjusts. Thus, we cannot define self-knowledge as a mere social convention, yet through it, we can change the world. It is never difficult to change the world, and we are not involved in a dangerous process to change the world. Needed is the ability to alter our thinking and produce our self-knowledge, and the world will automatically change. The fact that humanity lives in a participatory universe where people's values, beliefs, and thoughts influence what happens around them is a surety that self-knowledge is not a mere social convention and is never a misleading idea. Noticeably, the happenings in the physical world replicate the rich contents of our self-knowledge, hence building our own destiny. Thus, self-knowledge evades us from being casualties of circumstances and instead makes us heirs of our destiny. In conclusion, I believe that self-knowledge is neither a misleading idea nor a social convention because it makes us recognize our faults in thinking and helps us to alter them. In addition, self-knowledge helps us to enhance our spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional faculties with the aim of defining our destiny. If you want to find more works like this essay on concepts of self-knowledge, head over to ivypanda.com. It has a collection of samples with thousands of submissions covering virtually all academic subjects.